Right now, the 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah is teetering on the edge ahead of new talks planned for tomorrow in Washington, D.C. That ceasefire has allowed about 1 million displaced residents to make the journey back home to Lebanon, only to find widespread destruction. Here's how UNICEF spokesperson James Elder describes it in a country where an estimated 2,300 people have been killed.
This was the home of a teacher. This was the home of a preschool teacher. Is there a more important path that someone takes? Everywhere I look in the rubble, it's the remnants of a family home of that teacher. It's very important we remember some of the people being killed in these attacks. It's teachers, it's doctors, it's nurses, it's children.
James Elder joins me now. Thank you so much for coming on. I think this is an important story to tell. And this is far from your first visit to a war zone. So tell me more about what you saw and what you've heard while there.
Yeah, hi, Chris. Look, I think mostly people's life has just been turned upside down. It's bleak, they're reeling. They have just seen so much death, so much destruction. Perhaps unlike other wars here, September 2024, so much of the destruction, Chris, has been civilian infrastructure, things that children and families rely upon, schools, hospitals. There's been real devastation to the healthcare system. So that has, it's just unmoored people. They no longer feel safe kind of anywhere. And that's deeply unsettling. And of course, there's just been a ferocity to attacks. It was 2 weeks ago today on the 8th of April where there was 100 strikes in less than 10 minutes. We've not seen anything like that anywhere in the world for a long time. Dozens of children killed in a very small space of time. Those things have really fractured the society here as people just don't have a sense that where can they be safe. Now, of course, as you said, there is a ceasefire. It's more or less holding, but people aren't trusting enough to fully commit themselves to try and go home, to try and restart, some people to try and send children back to school. So it's a long road ahead, and people will feel that trust when they see the evidence, and the evidence comes from, no airstrikes, no drones.
So you have the people there who live in very real fear. And then as we look at the video of the devastation that residents are returning to, what are the biggest challenges for organizations like yours? What is the need for some of these folks who are coming back for shelter, for food? How is sanitation? Just for starters, what are the critical needs?
Yeah, it's all those things, isn't it? I mean, it's interesting displacement. So there's 400,000 girls and boys displaced. And I think, Chris, sometimes that word displacement in English, it sounds quite gentle, almost neutral. It's not. It's violent. It's repetitious. It means a child has, in the middle of the night, amid screams and firing and airstrikes, been forced to flee. Invariably, then they hear that their home's potentially been destroyed. Then you've got the trauma and the stress of your parents, who, like most parents around the world, spend years and years saving and putting that into a home, and suddenly, in a flash, it's gone. So there's that anxiety and that stress. So many of those people, hundreds of thousands of those people and children, are in shelters, as you say. Now they need water. UNICEF does a huge amount with the government with water. Sanitation systems have been destroyed. We have hundreds of thousands of children waking up in classrooms but not going to school. So, UNICEF is across the board. It's one of the blessings of our mandate, whether it's from biscuits to blankets, so nutrition supplies and keeping children warm. It's clothes. Water is a huge thing to rebuild water systems. That's an enormous part. It is education. One of the most amazing things I've seen in the last couple of days, Chris, that I've not seen really elsewhere, is the amount of work we do for children who've been wounded, not just trauma support, but medical support. So any child who gets wounded in this war, if they need specialised care, UNICEF is covering 100% of it. Now, that could be 3-4 surgeons. I met girls today in a hospital bed, 3 sisters, all in the same airstrike. Mum's had a foot amputated, 3 girls, horrible wounds, but we're going to get them that care they need. So it's a start. But of course, for their father, for the husband, his life is turmoil because, he's got his entire family in a hospital.
Well, we can only stand in awe and appreciation of the work that organizations like UNICEF and people like you do every day for those who have been through this and continue to be in a horrific situation. James Elder, we appreciate you coming on the show. Thank you, and stay safe.